Hello, welcome back to the library. Let's jump right into it. It's the year 2055, and the corporate world has taken a turn for the automatic. Throughout the world, companies are replacing human employees with robotic ones. Entertainment and information industries are ripe for the taking and manipulation. A series of engineers and programmers don't like where society is headed and decide to form a terrorist group known as Metallica, with one L. According to sources, the terrorist group is planning something big and soon. With that information in the hands of investigators, the Horned Owl unit is called into action. At least, that's what the manual wants you to believe. Project Horned Owl originally made our milestones list for being the first ever light gun game for the PlayStation, though its release would be a tad different between the NTSC regions. In Japan, the game was offered in a bundle kit with the sexy dark blue Hyper Blaster, Konami's new accessory for the deck. Both were also released individually for folks who preferred the controller or mouse. The separate gun also allowed for an easy Player 2 hookup. In America, however, the two were never combined into a single unit. Instead, the game was offered by itself, and Konami would end up releasing the now bright green gun and newly named Justifier to go along with it. Once in the game, players will take control of either Hero or Nash as they control their giant police mechs, meaning the player is essentially the mech unit, not the person inside. Various mission details will be called in by Kate L., the operator for Hero and Nash. According to the manual, Kate takes a liking to Nash, but this relationship is never followed up on. As the game opens up, Hero and Nash are dropped into the streets of Metro City, where the first wave of rogue enemy mech units have begun running amok. Here's where the real game begins. Regardless of the controller input, players will have access to their gun's standard bullet, a charged shot that fires a multiple of bullets in one hail, and then a limited supply of grenades. If that sounds a bit limited, it is, but with a catch. Developer Alpha System treats their mechanical villains as if they were human. Most can be downed in a single shot, regardless of difficulty levels. Once in motion, the game's focus is more of a precision targeting than it is a Wild West shootout. Pacing is more methodical, with the game's automatic scrolling moving players in a variety of directions and angles. It's a strange middle ground between the more stationary Lethal Enforcers and the hilariously more frantic pace of Time Crisis. It's a fantastic entry point for beginners. Enemy types come in 4 varieties: Soldier, Animal, Airborne, and Boss type. At any given time, up to 10 enemies can be on screen, leaving a wake of sprite-based corpses in your path. Project Horned Owl's environments are partially destructible, allowing players with itchy trigger fingers to blow up cars, barrels, assembly lines, and even have a few bullet holes in a giant fish tank. All of this action is presented in 3D environments with 2D sprite characters. The gimmick works thanks to animation frames including different angles based on the area players are fighting in. While simple compared to later releases, Alpha System finds this wonderful balance in the visuals. It's very anime inspired, with characters and environments looking like they belong with each other. Speaking of anime, Ghost in the Shell's Masamune Shiro designed the characters and the mech units. Players will have 5 areas to do battle in: the streets of Metro City, an airport, an office complex, a manufacturing plant, and finally the headquarters of Blair, the mastermind of the onslaught. Remember how I questioned the manual story setup? Blair is the main reason for that uncertainty. Inside the manual, it sounds like a bunch of programmers are to blame for the chaos. On the back of the case, players are told that Blair is a dictator in charge of a robot army. Once in-game, his means and reasonings change once more. While I won't spoil the real motives he carries in-games with him, this confusion only leads to more questions. I've finished the game 4 times, once for each difficulty level, and despite having a nice set of anime footage, the story is never really expanded upon. Even Blair's initial and final reveal bring more question than answers. It's possible Alpha System had a broader plan in place if Project Horned Owl had sold like hotcakes. Sadly, it seems like any of those questions will never be answered. Add to this unfulfilled storyline all the different interpretations of what was going on in the story, and it's clear something was lost in the translation and creation. That caveat out of the way, the game does shine where it needs to. The Konami Justifier does admirably well with the bullet types, and firing the grenades is easy. Where things get really interesting are the mouse and controller options. When using the mouse, the left button defaults to the main bullets and the right fires grenades. To reload, players simply flick the cursor to the edge of the screen, simulating the shooting off-screen with the light gun. For pause, dragging the mouse to any corner and pressing the left button brings that to a halt. The controller's configuration is the most hilarious, as it shows Alpha knew how to stifle cheaters. When pressing reload on the controller, the reticle will quickly dash to the edge of the screen and then return to where you last shot. This intentional mimicking of the off-screen reload prevents players from spamming reload and fire at the same time, creating an unintentional infinite wave of bullets. I genuinely laughed out loud when I realized the gimmick. For players who like to unlock things, Project Horned Owl delivers everything in one shot. Pun intended. All that needs doing is finishing the game on the very hard difficulty. That will reveal level select, extra audio files, several polygon models to view, and more. It won't take long either, as the game can be finished in about an hour, give or take. As a final aside, the game scoring system is a bit sadistic. After each stage, the game will rank you on the number of enemies killed, remaining health, grenades used, and then combine that score with a bonus point settle for a final tally. That tally is then converted to a letter grade, so far anywhere from being a superior A to a horrible J, with J being the worst. I finished a stage with 98% kills, full health, and no grenades used, and my letter grade dropped. Regardless, if players make it to the high score table, Project Horned Owl allows them to actually draw their initials in. Using bullets from the light gun or the mouse and controller to draw, gamers can really leave their mark on the game. Just be sure to play on at least normal, as easy difficulty cuts you off after the second stage. In closing, Project Horned Owl is a game that beat the odds. In its original time frame, it was chastised for just being another light gun game with nothing new brought to the table. 25 years later, it's more of a comfort food. Even though I've got everything unlocked and finished it 4 times, I can easily go back to it at a moment's notice. The pacing is perfectly casual, there's enough in-game downtime to give your trigger hand a breather, and it's always fun seeing just how much better you can do against that damn rating system. Metro City needs you. Just don't tell Cody and Hagar. On Game-Rave's review scale, it's a solid 7 out of 10. It really is just a fun, comfort food type time, and I cannot recommend it more. If you do still have a CRT, definitely pick up a Justifier in the game. It really is fun. It's a relaxed, it's a really relaxed shootout. But yeah, have you guys played it before? If not, any questions, comments down below? Let me know what your favorite light gun game is, and I will see you guys next episode. Be safe, for the love of God. Get vaccinated. Keep wearing your mask where you need to, and I'll see you then. Take care.